Hi guys, Togo here with a new video, and this video will be again a new patch note, official patch note, actually a PTR changes for 10.0.5, which is for this Tuesday or Wednesday depending on your region. And I must say I'm really surprised at how they are dealing with the PvP meta, and I'm very happy. So I'm going to talk about mainly the PvP changes and everything that is going to affect PvP, so also the PvE changes as well. But I'm not going to talk about tanks. So again, let's talk right away. I'm going to try to make it a short video, but really I ramble a lot, and I don't know if you guys love it or not, but let me know in the comment section below. So basically, they nerfed PvE Balanced Druid. This does affect PvP as well, but it's basically for PvE, so we can just skip it. Restoration Druids will have Verdancy healing reduced by 10%. I don't know what Verdancy is, so excuse me for that. Adaptive Swarm now increases the effect, that I know, of course. It will be nerfed, so it will do a bit less healing with HOTS because of Adaptive Swarm by 5%, and also the healing and damage, it will be reduced by 10%. So Adaptive Swarm will not be as good as right now, but I think it still is a talent that you're going to take because it will add 20% increased healing on HOTS. Dream State, that is very interesting. So it will be reducing CDs by 20 seconds, which is actually good because you will be able to reuse your CDs much more faster. Although in some matchups you will probably take the anti-pushback on Tranquility, like for example Ring of Peace, but that is an extra option that you can have as a restoration druid. Fire mages get a 5% increased damage, frost mages as well. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't think it's purely about that. I think it's purely about the survivability of fire mages right now. The damage is still alright. I think it is mainly the survivability. Mistweavers, that's a change for a new talent, Lesson of Despair, so it will be 50% health instead of 80%. So I guess that's cool because it will be more often, especially in PvP. Holy Paladins will get Barrier of Faith, now accumulates 50% instead of 40% on Flash Heals, Flash of Light and Holy Light. Good. I don't know if all Holy Paladins do take it for PvP, but maybe now they could, especially with the PvP changes that they are going to give a bit later down the line. Flash Heal healing increased by 24% instead of also only for discipline only. Renew increased by 25%. Again, with all the changes that you have on the PTR right now with the official patch notes, plus this, it will make that your healing is actually insane as a Disc Priest. My prediction would be that Disc Priest will probably shoot up to S tier just because of all the changes that you already see on the PTR with the patch notes and also these incoming changes on the PTR. So I'm very excited. Like for example, Powered Radiance healing is increased by 100%, and Ultimate Radiance increases the healing done by 10% now. So it will be 10% increase, more increase healing on Radiance, but you don't have to take the PvP talents. The PvP talents will only get it instant cast, but I think you can find a world where you don't need an instant cast of Ultimate Radiance. That you can also just take another PvP talent and sometimes do a Powered Radiance for AoE healing. But again, this is more or less for PvE, but still will be applicable for PvP. Since of the many will just give you 10% more damage or effectiveness at least on debuff. So that's actually very insane because again, you will do more damage, which means more atonement healing, which means more proficiency in what you're actually going to do as a Disc Priest. Divine Aegis, create a protective shield. This is a nerf from 3% to 5% or 6% from 10%. So I think it's very nice. Overall, I think priests are one of the most likely specs to come out as a winner coming into 10.0.5. Again, my prediction a bit bold, but I think it's close to S tier or even S tier like from the start because of all the changes, making penance more easily boosted by again harsh discipline, so you can mind blast and solace to actually stack it up instead of just smite. With smite you're opening your holy school. Now you can just open up your shadow school, and if they kick it, no problem, you can still heal. And if they kick your penance, again, no problem, because you will still have something to do to actually stack that penance back up, or still do other things like, for example, atonement healing through mind blast. So I think it's a very good thing right now for Disc Priest. Outlaw Rogue's getting nerfed for PvE, basically. Killing Spree, reduced damage for again 35% instead of 65. Well, I don't know if it's going to be very good in PvP, but it's a nerf also for PvP. Shamans here, big interesting thing for enhancement shaman, by the way, but also for restoration shaman, a bit less for elemental shaman. Healing surge increased by 15%. It's actually very big for enhancement because again it's their defensive. Mana spring restores 400 mana. Now that could be very nice for enhancement as well, depending on the builds. Because now every totem you're going to put, it will restore you 400 mana, or at least I think it works like that. So it could be very interesting to play around. Totemic Surge, 3 seconds, 6 seconds instead of 2 and 4. Elemental Shaman, you will see a buff, but you will see that there are a few nerfs that are going to be very good, and I think Tony the Feral will be very happy. Boosted. Why boost? Anyways, inside jokes. Chain, lightning, lava beam, and earthquake are going to get increased, but that's basically PvE. Restoration shamans getting boosted in healing for healing wave. Acid rain getting a damage increase. I think that's a mythic plus change, really. And Master of the Elements, I think that's the most important thing, 20%. So it means whenever they're doing a lava burst and then they're going to do a lightning bolt with Stormkeepers, it will do more damage. That's basically the utility behind it. Now you will see also down the line it gets nerfed, so it should be alright. It should be alright. Warlock, again, Affliction Warlock, Harvester of Souls is like a talent that is quite bad. It is not noticeable on details, like it's basically not even 1%. So now it will get a 25% increased damage, so I will see if it's going to be good or not, but this is really not the most important thing. But this is quite important for PvP. Ring of Tyranny causes Demonic Tyrant to deal 7% additional damage for each stack of Demonic Servitude active at the time of his summon, instead of 5%. That's a buff. That's a buff, by the way. Thank you for the subscribe. Thank you. So warriors, by the way, arms getting again buffed, and they're getting buffed on multiple things that can actually be leading you into other like talents, other builds, which is good. Although I still think there is a main bleed build and a main more strike overpower like instant damage build. You'll also see in PvP talents changes that they are going to open up into the bleed builds possibilities for you as an arms warrior, but also fury warriors. So I'm going to predict arms warrior is going to be S tier, especially with all the changes that you're going to see in PvP right away. So Bladestorm gets a increase on damage that's pretty noticeable, 5%. I'll do like pretty much 10%, 15% Bladestorm damage overall, which is quite nice. Plus Unhinged, it will just add up. Whirlwind could be very nice to play around as a build, but it depends if, again, it's worth to press or not. Rend initial damage, that's pretty like not noticeable, it will not do anything. Thunderclap also, it's pretty much for the AoE bleed application, it's pretty much mythic plus territory there. Cleave damage increased by 5%, that's just mirroring the arms changes that we got on the BTR. So Fury, that's the important thing. You Fury lovers would probably appreciate it because, again, like they said, despite a strong start, because they had a strong start, the performances are just going like down. I think it's close to be the worst melee in PvP with Enhancement Shaman. But now with those changes, it should be alright. So basically it will encourage more playstyle builds and also just more damage, and you will need it because the force is still bad, but all of this will just add up, like Bloodbath doing more damage, Bloodthirst also, Annihilator too. You can also play a Raging Blow build, which basically also, like, Crushing Blow will be also increased, I think, hopefully, because it's not written. Execute gets more damage, so maybe the execute builds could be very nice to play around. Rampage doing more build damage, so I think it will add up until a point where you're going to exist in the arenas instead of just survive. Protection warriors, we're not going to discuss about it. This is the important thing. They're going to nerf the gladiator's distinction on the damage that they can provide, and they will buff the stamina. So you will get 35% more stamina from your PvP set, like trinket bonus, and you will get 40% less primary stats on those trinkets. So it will result to a slower pace, so it will do more, like, less damage. It will still do damage, by the way, because you have more gear and such, but still you will have less damage than what you had right now, and you will have more HP. So it means that the healers will be more able to react on damage, or at least they would be able to participate in games where, look, I'm healing, but I want to do DPS, I want to do some CC, I want to do some utility. Well, with this, it should be able to be a possibility. Now, is it going to fix everything? Like I said, no, because you do get gear, better gear. You will also get forset. You will also have other PvP changes that you will see a bit further down the line on the video, but you will see that in general it is a good idea. I think it will affect everyone, every spec, so it will not nerf a specific spec based on a bracket, for example, but with this you're going to help everyone, every healer, every DPS to actually survive a bit more. This will help Enhancement Shaman, for example. This will help Frost Decays. This will help a lot of specs that do need to survive, to thrive. Like, for example, Fire Mage will also probably appreciate that. So we will see what's going to happen. But now the important changes, which is the change of meta. We have DKs getting nerfed on Spell Warden, basically also on Enfeeble, so it means that the Unholy DK nerf, because you had like a damage reduction at all times, pretty much, and now that's going to get reduced by 33%. You have Death Strike, healing is no longer reduced by 25%, but the improved Death Strike is still reduced by 50%. So Death Strike will still be interesting to cast. It will be more interesting to cast right now than before, but it will still be in a nerf state compared to the beginning of Season 1. Or the pre-patch, to be correct. Unholy Decays getting nerfed on Necrotic Wounds, so the healing and the absorb will get nerfed. I think it's a good change. They do heal a lot with Necrotic Wounds, and they will still be useful with it. Virulent Plague, which is the dot that does a lot of damage, a lot of spread damage. It's about a bit paddy, but still it does a lot of damage over a whole course of a match. That will be reduced by 30%. So it was increased by 30%. Now it will be no longer increased in PvP. So it's a straight nerf. So that's going to probably shove DKs into A tier, maybe B tier, but B tier means it's good. In my books, B tier means it is good. A tier means it is meta. Now, I think it is meta if the casters are still going to be prevalent. Now, Elemental Shamans do get nerfed. That's a spoiler, but you will see again in the timestamps. If you want to jump to Elemental Shaman, you can always jump to Elemental Shaman. But if the other classes are still existing, I think DK is still going to be very good. Rune of Spell Warding is like a brain dead PvP talent. It's like literally you pick it up and you forget it. Like it's so strong for passive that it is just not rewarding to play against and to play with. So it is deserving a nerf. I think in general frost decays are also going to get a nerf because of it, because Rune of Spell Warding is something that you're going to pick probably most of the time. But it's a buff also because you will get buffed on death strikes. So now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Feral Druids first, then we're going to talk about balance, then about Restoration Druids. Feral Druids getting nerfed on Rake, getting nerfed on Rip, getting nerfed on Ferocious Bite, getting nerfed on Feral Frenzy, and getting nerfed on Prescient Regeneration. 18% for Rake and Rip, 5% nerfed on Ferocious Bite, 10% on Feral Frenzy, and 12% on the Frenzied Regeneration. That will probably give a bit less damage for Feral Druids that are actually going rampant. They are very strong. I think it's in a state where even people that don't like to play complicated classes will play Feral Druids because it is that much stronger than other specs. Now, do they deserve to have a spot in the sunlight? Yes, I think those nerfs are going to bring it in line towards the A tiers. It is not going to be S tier anymore because of those nerfs, depending on the changes that are on the PTR, because the 10.0.5 changes are actually very good for Feral Druids, so it might just set it off and balance it around to a point where it's in a good state. But I'm like thinking about the 18% on Rake and Rip. It is quite big. Since the AoE is also going to get nerfed, I think you will probably turn yourself into a single target kitty, which is alright because I think the AoE pressure is a bit too much. I think they did have to nerf the bleed damage on pets because that's mostly annoying for all the pets, but I think those changes are very good for ferals. Now I'm going to talk about balanced druids. I'm actually very excited by the changes. They did change also the talent trees a bit around, where you have a single target tree now and a AoE tree where you could just take a path that you would like to play, and in the middle you can play a bit of both, like a buff for your celestial alignment, or a buff like with a convoke if you want to play with convoke. So Orbit Breaker now resets his count when entering an arena match. That's actually very good because in Soul Shuffle sometimes you could get pretty much full mooned from the first shooting star, because it just counts it up, and if it ends at 28, pretty much the second shooting star that is going to pop off will get a full moon, so it's quite strong. Full moon damage reduced to 60% instead of 80% when triggered by Orbit Breaker. I think it's fair because it's pretty much a free damage like from a shooting star. It is still going to be taken, it is still very strong, but what I'm very excited is they're going to buff the consistent damage, which is Wrath, Starfire, and also Star Surge. So you will do more damage regardless. It will offset the nerfs from Full Moon, and it will be making you feel more more capable to do damage. Again, sorry, I'm a bit sick. New moon, half moon, full moon also increased by 20%. So they want you to be able to do damage single target and not only PvE, star falling, moon firing, sun firing, and then doing a celestial alignment to do like big AoE spread damage. They want you to also be able to do damage single target. They do nerf the force set, which is understandable because again, you're going to buff so many things. This is going to help you. They will also still increase the damage on Wrath and Starfire per stack. It is stackable, so it's going to do some good damage. I think Wrath and Starfire will be able to do 40k now if you have like the Astral buff, which is good on a builder to do 40k. It is like respectable. It's something that other classes can do, and now Balanced Druid can also do that. Touch of the Cosmos grants 20% increased damage to Star Surge instead of 35. It gets offset by the buffs on Star Surge. So pretty much your like 4-set is not required to do damage, but again, I think it's better. I think it's a buff for Balanced Druids regardless. Umbral Embraces increases Wrath Starfire damage by 40% instead of 50%. Again, I think it's going to be perfectly fine. Balanced Druids are going to be better. Now, let's see if it's going to be that much better. I think right now they are probably C tier. In Soul Shuffle they are a bit better, but in Trees, C tier, and now it could be going into B tier in Trees, and in Soul Shuffle it could be even better, but we'll see how it works. Now let's talk about the Resto Druids. They do get nerfed on Budding Leaves, which is now 50% instead of 70%, and Frenzied Regeneration as well. So people don't like you to stay in bear form, especially with Heart of the Wild. This is going to help a lot. So luckily Balanced Druids are not going to get nerfed on survivability, since again they have some difficulties on that department. Again, good things for a devastation. They do get nerfed on their burst, which is Deep Breath. Sometimes you could get one shot because of just Deep Breath, Fire Breath. Now it's going to get nerfed. The Spellweaver's Dominance grants 20% instead of 30%, and Disintegrate gets a buff. So again, you are actually incentivized to do Disintegrate, and the same for Azure Strike, consistent damage getting buffed by 20%. So I think it's very good. Very good changes, I think. Preservation, Dream Projects and Seal overtime effect can now be dispelled, so that's very nice for Shamans and Priests, so they can actually have a lot of counterplay to it. And they do now cost mana, so it's not free, and again, it's counterplay, so it's very good for our healer friends, but also our Shaman friends, like Enhancement and Elemental Shaman, and also Shadow Priest. Hunter's Roar Sacrifice now deals 10% of damage the target suffers to the pet, so it will do less transferable damage to the pet, so that's good because the pets are dying very quickly. Now I don't think it's because of Roar Sacrifice that your pet is dying, it's pretty much because of the bleeds, but we will see if they are going to fix it or not. Arcane Bombardment is now 40% effective in PvP instead of 65%. It is the execute effect. I think it will be fine because sometimes you will auto lose because you're like low HP because of our Arcane Mage. Now it will be a bit less, but still I think you are going to be capable to kill someone whenever low HP. They are reverting the nerfs on Chrysalis for Mistweavers. So it will be now back to 45 seconds. Enveloping Mist is going to get increased by 25%, which is a big buff. It is actually a lot of healing. And Mana Regen is now decreased by 10% instead of 15%, so you will not be as fast as right now. A lot of changes for Paladins, guys. This is the meta patch. It is going to change the landscape of the PvP for World of Warcraft. I think it's a good thing. I think Blizzard is actually opening their eyes, and they're actually thinking like burst damage is cool until you either get one-shotted or one-shot, and I think one-shots are still fun, but you need to be able to do something outside of it, or at least feel rewarded to stay in combat and to actually do damage with it. They're nerfing Final Reckoning by 20%, offsetting the buffs that they did previous patch. Radiant Decree getting nerfed by 33%, so those 200Ks are not going to be 200Ks anymore. They will be closer to 125K, so it's going to be still acceptable. I think classes should be able to burst, and it could give you an opportunity to not go Radiant Decree, but more Ashes to Ashes, I think. Wake of Ashes, excuse me. So you could still have a lot of options there. The 2 sets gets nerfed as well by 5%. Crusader Strike now deals 80% instead of 30%, so it will do more consistent damage. Healing Hands, which is the Word of Glory, is going to also get buffed by 20%, so you will be able to heal yourself a bit better. It's a defensive for you. Templar's Verdict increased by 10% in combat, so it will be finally an option to take instead of that boring GVs. So Justicar Vengeance was a auto pick because basically it did just more damage than the Templar's Verdict, but also healed as well and did more damage in stuns. Now you will have a optional way to build your Paladin, which is good. They also a good thing where I'm very excited for is Exorcism doing 80% more damage. That's very big. I think it's going to be very nice, and I think it will be opening a build towards a PvP build for Exorcism. And Lawbringer getting nerfed by 2%, which is still going to be taken. It's a lot of AoE damage, and the health are going to be increased, so it will do roughly the same damage. The things that I'm actually excited for as a Retribution Paladin is the 30% damage reduction on Divine Protection, which is a 1-minute CD, by the way, because of the change that they did previous patch. So you will have a wall of 6 seconds, I think, or 8 seconds for 30%, which is going to be very good. It is going to be potent, more potent than Shield of Vengeance. So I think in general, people will take this. I think it's a big thing for Paladins, and you will be able to survive more damage. Flash of Light getting increased by 15%. Again, being able to heal yourself, but also for Holy Paladins. And Aura of Reckoning getting nerfed. Again, you will have more choices to do as a Retribution Paladin, but also as a Holy Paladin to opt out of Aura of Reckoning and take something else. And Consecration doing 15% more damage. Maybe it opens up for different builds, but I don't know if it's going to be either good or bad. Holy Paladin getting nerfed on their Reckoning PVP talent, which is basically the judgment after your Reckoning pop. You will get a 100% judgment damage. Now it's going to be 25%. Holy Light now heals for 75% more instead of 40%, so it's a 35% increase. Holy Shock also increased by 15%, so you will be able to heal better. Now, the mana issues are still going to be existent, but we will see if it's going to be helped with also the previous changes for Holy Paladins. And they also fix an issue that Judgment never, not always critted. Now it will always crit, so we will see. This is also a meta change. I think Retribution will be better, I think, really better than currently, because you will have more defensives, you will have more healing, you will have more consistent damage, which is something that you are lacking as a Retribution Paladin, and you will have a bit less burst, but Radiant Decree is an option. You can also just take Wake of Ashes, which is also doing a lot of damage. And yes, it will not do the crazy damage you're doing with Radiant Decree, but you will get a lot of Holy Power regeneration. So you will have to see what you prefer to play around. I think Wake of Ashes is a good option. It will open up to a haste build maybe. And Final Verdict doing more damage as well is going to be more fun for you guys to actually choose your builds. Because right now it's pretty much just Justicar Vengeance and that's it. Also, Forset will be enabled because of it, because nobody really played with Forset as a Paladin. Now you can play with a Forset and still be prevalent. Now the big changes, the big PvP changes. We have Earth Unleashed, which is the root effect from the Unleashed Shield will now be 2 seconds. It will be breakable, but of the DR. Of root DR. So basically you will always root for 2 seconds. It will be breakable. It's good for us, Arms Warrior, to be able to not be kited all the time. Now with this, it is still going to be strong because you have Unleashed Shield Waters for Restoration Shamans, and the Lightning Unleash, which is the push, is still very strong. So I think it's still going to be a PvP time that most of the people are going to play around with, but I think it's going to be very good, very good for the meta. Water Shields now returns for 1% instead of 2%. I don't know if it's going to be very much a big deal because the games are not that long. Stormkeepers are going to get nerfed by pretty much 33%, so you will have 67% effectiveness. I think it's still going to be strong. Yeah, it is going to be strong. So it's still going to be in the nerf state, but I think it's deserved. Doing 130k crits is a bit too much for a healer, since it is too surprising for the healers as well to heal that damage. So it's a good thing that this is nerfed. Now, let's talk about elemental shamans. The 2 set is getting nerfed by 50%, so it's not going to do a lot of damage for you. This is pretty much killing the earth shock damage and the elemental blast damage that you could do in PvP. I wish they could do something else with it, or maybe change the tier set, but they are not going to do that for season 1. So basically it's a straight 50% nerf, and the Primordial Surge lava burst damage increase is now 60% effective in PvP combat. That's a big nerf. So every time you're going to do a Primordial Wave and you get surges from it, you are going to do less damage. So it's going to be a bit less bursty. I think it's still going to be good, but it will be more manageable. So you're not going to get 100 ode every time you're going to do a Primordial Wave. So that's a good thing, I guess. But a good thing is for Arms Warriors is Thunderous Roar. The bleed damage no longer deals reduced damage, so you will finally do damage with Thunderous Roar, which is very good for the bleed damage build. Uproar talent is also no longer reduced, so it will be a 1 minute CD bleed damage. It is going to be insane. I'm going to play it, I'm going to enjoy it. The only thing that I really disliked about that talent is it was super nerfed in PvP. Now it isn't the case. Also for Fury, by the way, Fury is going to love it like 100%. This is very big. This is also one of the reasons where I'm saying they want Arms Warriors to be S tier. I made a video about it, why Arms Warriors should be S tier in PvP, because the meta is just better whenever Arms Warrior is S tier. And I know it's biased, but it is just the case. It opens up a lot more comps. It opens up to setup comps. It opens up to burst comps. It opens up to everything in between. So I think Arms Warrior is going to be S tier, and Fury Warriors are going to be much more interesting, because Slaughterhouse has now a 16 seconds duration, and you will be able to have a 40% MS effect, like 38% or 36%, still a very high percentage. It's going to be possible and plausible and very interesting to play around. So I think Fury Warriors are redeemed, and Storm of Steel is also going to be buffed, or at least unnerved in PvP. So your Whirlwind will do a lot of damage. I'm excited to see, I'm excited to test. I'm excited for everything in between. Storm of Steel, I think it is the Whirlwind, or maybe it's something else. I'm going to see right away. We can check it together. But as a whole, I think it's going to be a very interesting, like meta-wise. They do not add anything for the MM hunters. I hope they do, but look, that's this Storm of Swords. They're going to unnerf it. So before it was 35% increased damage, now it's going to be 70%. So it's going to be better to do Whirlwind. You're going to do insane damage, and you might do a Whirlwind build for a Fury Warrior, which is going to be probably fun to play around. So again, let me know what you think about the video. Let me know what you think about the meta changes. I think the meta has been changed already, but now it's going to be insanely wide. I think this priest is going to be very strong. I think elemental shamans are going to be B tier, A tier now. Resto Shamans are going to be probably also better. Holy Paladins as well. Resto Druids being nerfed. We will see if they are going to be still king or not. But as a whole, I think they are all doing their best to make PvP relevant in World of Warcraft. And just because of that, I want to do a applause to Blizzard, because you have to remember Shadowlands and how they did the balancing changes. Right now, Season 1 Dragonflight, we had a balancing change every 1 or 2 weeks for PvP, which is insane. Except the holiday period from Christmas, they just halted for balancing, which is normal because they took their vacations. But since they came back and before the vacation, they were on top on balancing changes. And right now with 10.0.5, they're doing a fantastic job. Now for hunters, I'm very sorry. I don't know if they're going to do anything to replace double tap. I hope they do. If they don't, it will probably be the class that is the less played in the game, except if maybe True Shot is just stronger without double tap and with all the buffs towards True Shot. But in my opinion, I think double tap is such an important ability for PvP that they might just add it in PvP as a PvP talent if they don't have a band-aid. I would suggest put it in a PvP talent so PvE can just be like balanced at their own pace, but let PvP still be a thing for MM, because without double tap, I think MM will be destroyed until they get a replacement for it, because for now we don't have a replacement talent for it. It's basically just nothing, right? It's 10% reduced CD on aim shot and rapid fire. That's nothing. Like, it's not even 1.5 seconds on rapid fire. It's not going to be relevant. So let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about those class tunings. I will also post it in the comment section below, the Warhead post, so you can just read it at your own leisure. Or if you want to support the channel, of course, you can always rewatch the video, or at least some parts of the video if you don't understand something. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the unending support that you are giving to me. It means the world to me. Again, we will catch each other very soon in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.